What people think of when they think dark romance, they think, oh my God, what is wrong with this author?
What the f is wrong with you?
There is a reason why hundreds of thousands of women, and some men, will read these dark romances.
My first dark romance was Haunting Adeline, and I remember being like, but then also like,
you're able to do so much more in dark romance. It's more than Lincoln's tattoo.
What's up?
There's a line in regular romance and it's great, but you can't cross it.
I think dark romance taking off has empowered women. So many more women are like, oh yes, I love that. I love getting my hair pulled. I love to get called a filthy.
There's a lot of subgenres in romance. There's your billionaire, there's your contemporary, there's your small town, and historical. And every niche kind of, or niche or niche, I don't even know how I say it, but every single, period of time in romance, I feel like something explodes in a space. This is a time where dark romance has exploded and is really taken over within the subgenre culture of what romance is. So I do love dark romance, but the first time I really saw it trending was definitely Haunting Adeline. And I just saw this huge surge, hunger, thirst, demand for really morally gray and sort of dark, dirty, and depraved. And that was a shift. So while dark romance is totally trending, unlike other genres, it's really taking a lot of criticism.
And then you tell me that you're a dark romance lover and you pull out Haunted Adeline. Why are you reading that on the daily basis?
Easily by far the worst book I read this year was Haunting Adeline. And if you enjoyed that book, that's on you, but I hated it and it was a waste of my fucking time.
I want to perform their favorite song, but you know they love the sewer.
Dark romance introduces a whole other subset of language like Dubcon, non-con, knife play, blood play. I feel like that's where people have really sort of gotten into some heated dialogue in the social media community and beyond. Is this okay? Where is the ethic line? What are the boundaries? Why do we care? And so I wanted to do a deep dive because a lot of people were getting a little uncomfortable and having this dialogue. And I wanted to see what was it that was so appealing about these kind of fantasies. Earlier this year, we went to Shadows and Seduction, a great dark romance focused convention. And Cassandra asked some of the readers there what was so appealing about this particular genre.
First question is, do you read dark romance?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Almost exclusively only dark romance. The darker the better. I'm a big fan of dark romance.
Do you remember the first dark romance book you ever read?
I do. It was Lights Out. I think it was Haunting and Hunting Adeline.
It was Anne Stewart, and I think it was Moonrise, but the main male character's name was Jamie. He's a
What is your favorite dark romance trope?
Mafia, but like gangster. Probably like drug dealer. A little gunplay? Okay.
I love the masked men, so stalkers, masked men. I really love that.
I do love a stalker because like he has an end goal and it's me, and like I just want to be chosen.
I love a good bully romance if it's done properly. So like Angel Lawson, I love her bully romance.
Some readers find dark romance to be healing. Is that true?
Something that's darker than what you're going through for me, that's very healing because I look at it
It's a different perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like as women we're told so many times we can't do things, and in this world it's fine.
So it's obvious that there's more to romance than just shock value. Of course, shock value is a part of it. In today's world, everything has to have some element of shock, right, for us to have an interest. And I think that's really part of the fun for a lot of the readers, is how it pushes the boundaries and how the readers engage. I think it's also fun for the authors too. I think that they sort of kind of get out a lot when they're writing it. We talked to author Samantha Barrett, who I love and adore. Samantha, you know I love you. And she had a lot to say on the subject.
I don't like to stick to one. I like to offer you a buffet. Kinks. Wow, here we go. Number one, we have shrimping, we have Colorado s'mores, we have the blood of Christ, BDSM, bondage, electrostimulation, splashing, figging, primal play, Dubcon, non-con, masked men. I've got so many, and there's new ones that I'm incorporating in this new series, but I'm not saying yet.
So obviously I'm obsessed with Samantha Barrett, who we met at Wild and Windy, and I was like, this author has an it factor. She's hilarious, she's fun, And she goes into some dirty, filthy, messy themes that I'm just like, wow. And listening to her, what stood out to me wasn't just the shock value of it all, but just like the freedom in it, right? That dark romance could put women in different positions that allowed them to be all of these different female main characters.
Women are taught to take what you're given type of thing. The men initiate sex. The men tell you how you're doing it. The woman's expected to take it vanilla, lay on her back, and be a pillow princess. That's what society has crafted us to be. It's incorrect. We're in the 20th century. Wake the fuck up. And if we want to try doggy style, let's do it. If we want to plug every hole with a dildo while you watch, we're going to do it. We are entitled to our wants too. And that's why I love this genre, because there's bad in it. And I just love it. In these dark romance books, they get to experience the power of a woman telling the man in the bedroom, this is what I want, this is how I like it, this way. And I love to know that, in a sense, my books have helped boost the confidence of a reader to be able to express to their significant other, hey, I'd like to try this. And they've had the confidence because they've read it, they've envisioned themselves in that moment.
Thought I had an idea of what dark romance was. I mean, I've been reading a long time, and in yesteryear, dark romance to me was up situations with like regular characters, right? There was kidnapping and beating and maybe even BDSM or other things that were dark elements surrounding people that seemed possibly relatable. Whereas now there's been this shift, right? The Hunting Adeline, there's sort of fantasies that make the actual main characters very questionable. Unlike in the past, when I would read a Mia Sheridan, a Jennifer Hartman, it was the main characters that were in horrible situations. So I wanted to understand how people inside the romance genre really define what dark romance is. We talked to author Lucy Smoke, who I love. She really explained to me what dark romance was.
I define dark romance as like it's a spectrum. And for me, like a lot of my themes are dark. Sometimes it's the romance that's dark, where like the relationship isn't very like healthy. It could be a little toxic, but sometimes there is like, just other themes of like parental neglect, abuse, just things very similar, SA, et cetera, et cetera. And so those things I would categorize as dark romance, but they would probably be on the lighter end if the romance itself isn't super, super dark or not toxic and it's super healthy. I kind of fell into the idea and into the genre of dark romance with Sick Boys. And when I did that and I had to rebrand a little bit, and I was going back and I was like, I have all these lighter books. Like, what am I going to do? And then I realized as I was like re-looking at them, I was like, they're really not that light, actually. One of my very first series, I published the first book in 2017. Literally, that was my first year publishing. I published for the very first time August 2017, and I published this book in November of 2017. So it was like the second or third book I'd ever published. And I had, marketed, branded it as super light, very new adult, very contemporary. And in going back, I realized like, yes, the romance isn't super heavy and it's not toxic, but the themes and a lot of the things that the characters dealt with, like suicide, loss of a parent, parental neglect, parental abuse, like these are very dark themes. When I came to dark romance and I was like, oh, this is dark romance, I realized that all along I had a lot of similar themes organically in my work. And so it wasn't really hard to just like rebrand as dark romance when I realized that it is a spectrum. People outside of dark romance don't really understand the concepts and they think it's more harmful, and they think basically everyone who reads or writes dark romance is a pervert or like a kink person, and that's not, and they say it so negatively, and like there's nothing wrong with being into kink, and there's nothing wrong with reading or loving or writing dark romance, because a lot of the times it is a therapeutic way to get out a lot of like negative emotions that you have nowhere else to tap into, like, or get rid of them.
We consume dark romance. Sometimes we don't even think of it as dark romance all the time. We see a lot of dark themes. We watch, especially now the way TV is shaped. There's a lot of dark shows. Game of Thrones, right? That is super dark. And it's seen as prestigious. It's winning awards. And yet when it translates onto page in this romantic, spicy darkness, there's a lot more criticism that goes along with it, and judgment and stigma.
I think we definitely get a lot more stigma attached to dark romance than other genres. Like I said, I have a degree in horror. I'm there. I've seen it. So for dark romance to have this sort of judgment when you've probably got worse scenes in horror books that you're displaying proudly in a bookstore, I think it's quite old-fashioned. There is no shame in what you like to read. It is your time. It is your enjoyment. I don't judge anyone on what they read. Like, there's no kink shaming in my books. We don't care. We do everything.
The judgment doesn't just affect the fandom or her online community and everything else. It really sort of shifts into how the industry is seeing it as well, and how traditional publishers are so much more reluctant to publish. Even when they see examples of how something like Hunting Adeline or Den of Vipers, for example, with Kay Knight, could be trending and could be really successful, there's still so much reluctance when it comes to the publishing industry and how they want to take on this genre.
It was my goal to walk into a bookstore and see my book. I mean, I was at 60 published books. So I'd reach number 1 on Amazon charts and I'd hit USA bestseller lists, and I still couldn't see my book in a bookstore. I think the publishing industry has definitely evolved. I mean, when I first started writing dark romance, there was no chance of you getting into it. Not a chance in hell would a publisher look at my book and be like, yeah, this is what we want. And I think a lot of it changed with platforms like TikTok, and where BookTok blew up, and I was very lucky that Den of Vipers was one of those books. I think that's where the recognition for Podium comes in, because they've worked with a lot of indie authors. I mean, they've done my audio now for a very long time, and they're incredible. So they were very respectful about how they did it, keeping it to the original tropes, the original kind of art, making sure it was exactly what I wanted. And they offered me a book, again, for Divers, and I said yes, because I love working with them. I definitely started independent, but now I'm hybrid, so I do a bit of both. But even now, I still do get this feedback when we're submitted. They're like, oh no, this is too dark for us. Like, we love the plot, we love the writing. It's just too dark. Oh, we don't know if we can sell this. Which I think is very interesting when it's such a big genre nowadays. And I think that's quite disheartening as an indie romance author. It always felt like a little bit of a kick in the teeth, because you're selling so many books online and people are going into these bookstores and they're wanting to buy it and it's not physically there. And I definitely think it's something that they're changing now. I'm seeing my own books now within stores, whereas they would never have seen them before.
It's crazy to me that you can see all of these dark romance authors with this fandom. There's so many exclusive events even that are just for dark romance authors, with sold out events, I might add, with massive fandom, and people are rallying around this, you know, selling out like crazy, and still I can't walk into an average bookstore and find it on a shelf. That's crazy to me. I really think that, you know, it's hugely successful. There's a huge following, there's a thirst, there's a hunger, but the judgment and criticism can go so far, because a lot of these authors, they're getting backlash. Sierra Jane, another favorite of ours, author, she experienced this firsthand.
I've been writing dark for a while, but definitely from the beginning, my writing has evolved to get darker as time has gone on. Fucking wrong number. It was actually really terrifying. When it first released, it was the first of its kind. And I think people were very much expecting a light and fluffy book. And I really lean into dark impulses in that book. I still think it's like a dark romance, like starter. Like, it's not like Lords, and it's not like Haunting Adeline, we're like over here. So I think it's a good like starter if you're dipping your toes. But, you know, I got like death threats. I was told that I should die, that I was the most horrible person on earth, and how dare I. And it obviously helped it go up the charts really fast because it was spreading in all the Facebook groups and all of that. But it was really difficult I had never experienced that level of hate before. And just how personal the attacks got. I had to really work on my thick skin with that one, because it took a minute. It took like a week to find its like real audience.
Hearing this, it really does make you stop and think about it. I mean, yeah, there's backlash and there's judgment and there's all of these elements surrounding that. But then you go ahead and you talk to readers who have been pushed so far and are craving it, but why are they craving it? We talked to influencer Crowe about her experience as a reader and a fan and what it's really given her in this space.
My first dark romance was H.D. Carlton, and it was Haunting Adeline, I believe the name is called. Yeah, I went like head first in with no warning, and I remember being like, but then also like reading that was so good. Like to see that there was another part of romance that embraced maybe the darker things. As a girly that has OCD, and sometimes my brain will lash onto things that feel not normal, it's nice to read things that are not normal. So it normalized, like sometimes things can pop into your brain and it's okay, and it's a safe place to explore it. Really love morally gray characters because I think we all naturally are a little bit. We have pieces of ourselves that we kind of hide from others, and seeing little reflections of ourselves is really comforting. I'm pretty open about this, thankfully. Shout out therapy. I highly recommend it. But I remember reading the Edge of Darkness trilogy by Lee Rivers. I am a sexual assault victim, and I did not know, that's on me, I did not read the trigger warnings when diving into that book. And that book was very heavy on sexual assault. And as I was reading it, I had to process certain things that I was not comfortable with. And as I was reading it, it showed me, okay, girl, it's time to go to therapy and talk about this. So I literally told Lee, thank you for writing this, because if it wasn't for her, I don't think I ever would have gone to therapy to talk about it, because I avoided it. I was like, nope, it's just in the back of my brain. Like, I don't ever have to think about it. But to see it in a book and to see how they felt pain too, girl, I can get emotional, but but to see that the characters could trust each other still, that was huge for me. That even after everything bad that has happened and you can still love one another safely, game changing.
So Crowe's experience really does show us this ripple effect. It's not just how much she loves the space, but it really gave her language around these characters from her own experiences dealing with anything that she dealt with in her own life. It gave her clarity. It gave her the feeling that she didn't have to be ashamed. Furthermore, she experienced it when fans reached out to her and were like, this changed me, this saved me, this gave me language, this gave me clarity. Lucy Smoke also experienced this firsthand.
I've had so many readers come up to me and tell me that they've experienced sexual assault, or they've experienced like parental neglect or parental abuse or other things that are super common in some of my books. And they're like, they appreciate the way I've portrayed it. It's made them feel seen. It's made them feel heard. It's made them feel, not quite alone. I personally have a long-standing relationship with depression and anxiety. And it's not very, a lot of people are really surprised to hear that, because I'm usually very bubbly, very happy, which I am. I am a happy person in general, but I do suffer from chronic depression, and it is something that I can't get away from. It's chronic. It's forever. And so a lot of that relates into my book, and I end up using a lot of my own trauma in my books. And that's in different ways, whether it's like emotions that I felt, but the situation is completely fictional, things like that. And I think that using that real experience from me and using a lot of real emotions that I have, and it translates really well into connecting with readers. And I love having them come up to me and tell me how healing it is. I have a standalone called Expression It, and it was I would consider probably my first real dark romance, but it's got a lot of angst, and it's got a lot of, and I did end up adding in the back of the book, a lot of suicide hotlines for different countries, for America, for Australia, for the UK, and some other websites that are global and international for people who have depression or have suicidal ideation, things like that. And I had a woman come up to me at this signing, and she just in tears was like, thank you so much for writing this book. I attempted to commit suicide, she told me this, to commit suicide a couple of weeks before I read this book. And I was in the hospital, and the book came across my feed or something, and she read it, and she said she felt like relief. It was, I can't remember exactly, because it's been 7 or 8 years at this point, but it was just this really touching moment between her and I, where I was because I put a lot of myself in that book, and I put a lot of my own struggles and my own problems and issues with parents and depression. And she was just I can't thank you enough. After I, tried to commit, and I was hospitalized, and then I was really still feeling I wish I hadn't survived. This book really helped me. And that was a moment for me where I was holy shit, wow, I can actually do something with writing it.
The darkest part of the story isn't what's happening around the character, but what's inside of the character, humanizing this and giving readers this understanding that they too can have experiences, this trauma and this darkness inside of them, and that it's okay. And that's really what the healing part for the readers is. Understanding that these are humans at the center of the story.
People love to talk about the banter and the antics and the smut, but the real ones know that there's these very deep threads going through all of my books that really explore mental health and just being loved for who you are and also loving yourself. The Pucking Wrong Guy is my favorite of the Pucking Wrong series. And in that one, it's the first one that doesn't have a true villain. And that's because she's the villain to herself. There's a particular scene where Blake in The Pucking Wrong Guy, she's writing in red lipstick on the mirror everything she hates about herself. And I get emotional. She wipes it down and wipes it away. And it's like this process of like evicting those thoughts from her. And it was so important because especially at the time, that's how I was feeling, about myself. I was like the villain in my story to myself. And so it's so important for me to put these deeper themes throughout these books. And, I always love when I see that noted in something that someone says because they really understand where I was going. It's not that I heal them. Like I don't make it just go away. Like I just make them that they're loved with how they are. Like they're loved, not like in spite of. It's like this is a part of them and they love them as they stand, not like excluding that and hoping that they'll get better.
My MMCs, oh God, okay. They are all damaged. Hide it well, but they are all damaged, broken pieces of shit. And I love them because throughout the book, nothing can touch them. They're invincible in a sense. They're the Dons or they're just that bad alpha energy. But it takes one person to change your aspect, and that person is the FMC. The reason they're written like that is, for me specifically, I find love extremely healing. And I believe for every person in the world, there is a person. You just have to find it. And when you meet that person, you want to change, not only for them, but because you see the better version of yourself through their eyes. I base the MMCs off of me. Writing the MMCs as I once viewed myself, I find it healing because I want to express that there is change. You can change if you want to. They are so arrogant and full of themselves because that's how I was. I thought I was untouchable and invincible, unlovable. But it wasn't until I met my person that I realized I was the trauma. So that person helped me to see that I'm not invincible, I'm not untouchable. It's just the armor that I wear. And that's how I portray it in my MMCs, because when they meet their significant other, she will love them, warts and all, scars, all of it. Good, the bad, the ugly. And she teaches them that you don't lose trauma, you grow with it.
I think you can start to see the pattern, right? What's amazing is that none of this is really obvious from the outside. So asking everyone again, what is dark romance? What is it doing to the reader group and the fan base? What is it doing to people? How are people responding to this?
Dark romance is all about exploring the darkness within yourself and within the world. I think it can be a very healing genre. If anyone has ever read it, they understand that a lot of subjects are tackled. So a lot of the stuff that I do in dark romance is mental health representation. I get so many messages being like, you hit me to a T, like addiction, mental health. I've had so many people reach out and be like, you have found me and exposed who I am, and I feel so less alone. And I think that's so important for dark romance.
People who are reading dark romance are able to kind of push themselves farther and confront the darker parts of themselves and their life experiences. And if you think that dark romance isn't for you, it can be so helpful to talk to authors and other readers and see what they consider lighter and darker so that you can kind of test it out and see if it's for you.
If my friends have read it, they know my things that trigger me. So I'll be like, is this going to be a hard story for me? And sometimes they'll be like, a little bit, but you'll be okay. Or yes, let's wait till you're in a better headspace. It's really hard to talk about things that are really upsetting to you. So when the book kind of does it for you, it's really beautiful because then you have information about a loved one and can be able to navigate the relationship in a different way. And now I get to understand my friend in such a deeper level that I don't think we would have been able to discover without that book.
You choose to pick up the book and you can close it. Nobody is going to force you. So the safety part is the fact that you are like the reader is always the one in control. That is why we can do things in books like choking or imprisonment or kidnapping and things like those things are okay in books because the reader always has the control. You can always close the book and you don't need to finish it.
I love that you get your happily ever after in these books, and it always makes it's not, lack of a better word, easier to read these books because you know that there is redemption at the end of these stories. These characters get their reckoning against those who wronged them, and you may not have got that in everyday life, but as you're envisioning yourself as these characters, you get that and you get your victory against those who have wronged you. I would encourage anyone that turns their nose up at dark romance to try it. Give it a try, because I promise we'll fucking surprise you.
We're all human. You don't have to love it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to read it. But I do encourage you to sort of give it a try. I have gone on a tangent myself and tried all kinds of genres I never thought I would read. Honestly, I never thought I would enjoy. And I do think it is worth understanding, especially before you judge, critique, stigmatize any of it. Read it. Understand it. Understand it from the reader's perspective. Take a listen to what they say. Take a listen to these authors. There is so much more to unpack about what it really is. But before you open up any book, definitely check the trigger warnings. Let me know in the comments below. Do you read dark romance? What are you reading? How do you like it? How has it affected you? And what is your takeaway from the dark romance community? I want to know. I read the comments, so please, please comment. I want to hear from you. Thanks, lovers.